This is the July 2024 live stream. Looks like we've already got 6 people here. Thank you guys for being here. I'm sure we'll get more once the notifications go out. Before we get into everything today, because I'm going to get distracted, let's go ahead and do the drink of the day. I actually have 2 today. So I found my cup that I've been missing for 2 years. You probably can't see it, but this is a Clean Canteen cup. It was a combination REI Subaru event that I went to, and it's Diet Pepsi. So nothing special there, but I do have a special drink. This I've never seen before. It's from Excel, and it's Darkest Hour Black Cherry. I picked this up at PA Shorestop outside of Athens, Ohio. And that was like the last stop in Athens on my way out to Indiana. So I picked up a few things. I have one more last diet ski. Maybe I'll keep that next live stream, not sure. But this stuff, I've never heard of it, can't find anything online. It's really obscure. I don't even know if it has caffeine because it doesn't say either way. But I will tell you it has 73 grams of sugar, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we'll try that out during the stream. Okay, so I see Max is commenting. Oh, and by the way, guys, for the first time probably over a year, I'm now set up. So I do have my laptop over here. If you see me looking over here, it's just to read the comments better. So Max says, more terrible news. I got laid off for the 2nd time in 6 months after the company I was just hired at told me they didn't have enough work for me, but they told me I did a great job, but fired me. They only let me work there for 28 days. The company only had 3 full-time workers and mostly relied on outsourced workers and part-time college students. Probably did not pay them benefits. Huh. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I know it was, I think, pretty recently you said you had a job. So I don't know what to say with that, but the fact they kept you for 28 days, I'm wondering if it has something to do with benefits. Like if they, maybe at like 30 days they would have had paid benefits, something like that. Especially with you saying they're outsourcing and using part-time college students, it might be something like that. I mean, stuff's falling off. All right. Well, since you did work there, maybe you can get a good recommendation out of it. Like a good reference, I guess, for when you're applying other places. And then they did fire you, so see if you get unemployment. Okay, let me try to figure something out here, because saying that something's up my camera. So I'm in the fraternity house, but the thing about it is I'm on the Wi-Fi, but I'm the only one here. And when I checked the Wi-Fi a couple days ago, it's supposed to be super fast. I mean, download and upload speeds are really good. So let me do a speed test here since I have my laptop, and I'll see what it's reading. But it's the same camera. I do have my ring light that it's setting on now, because I've got, some stuff unpacked and a place to put stuff. So slowly getting things back together. But yeah, I will run that over here. I don't think I have control over that. Yeah, let me double check. No, so I can't do that. I'm not sure if that's a setting in general, but I don't have that on my, like especially when I'm in a stream. So I just checked all the options that I have on the screen, and I don't have a way to change the frame rate resolution. Like I know how to do that on the phone if I'm just shooting video, but I don't think YouTube will let me adjust that. All right, so we're running that speed test over here. And once this is back to everybody else's comments. In the meantime, go ahead and give this a try. Yeah, okay, it's definitely cherry. It kind of smells like, it smells medicinal. Okay, it tastes medicinal, but not bad. It has a really strong flavor, which I like that. So I'm gonna keep trying it and see what I think. Okay, so speed test results. We are at, well, maybe if it finishes up here. Maybe. There it goes. Okay. So for download speed, I'm at 47.88. Testing upload right now, so give it just a second because that's important. I mean, it's looking good so far. 34.9 to upload, which is like insanely fast because we have the business internet here at the house. So I don't have any way to make any changes, and there shouldn't be any issues with the frame rate because it's like this is a way faster upload speed than I'm used to having. Let me get back to the comments here. Now, speaking of frame rate and resolution, I have 2 videos that I've filmed for you guys, and well, they took literal days to upload because I shot them in 4K at 60 frames per second. Because I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool. Let's see what it looks like. And then there's a gnat in here. But then I ended up making the videos really long. So the one took 4 days to upload, if that tells you anything. Okay, let me get back caught up on comments here. Case says, did you use a different cam? The frame rate is bad. Nope, it's the same camera. Maybe your Wi-Fi speed can drop the resolution. I can't change the resolution. Wi-Fi speed is good, just check that. Oh, Max says he was on a 90-day probationary period before benefits. Okay, well, I mean, there goes my theory. So I don't know, man. Like I had that job back in 2021. I quit during the 90 days. I think when they say 90 days, they're evaluating you for 90 days, not that you're gonna figure out what the job is. And yeah, so I don't know, man. I guess just keep trying, and maybe since it went well there and they thought you did well, I mean, maybe at least when you apply for other places, you can get a good reference from there. Max says, I think I can get unemployment, but it might only be $70 a week. Do it. I mean, $70 is, you know, what, like a tank of gas now? So do it. Oh, and then Max says, hope you're doing better, Mark. I'm a big supporter of you. Well, appreciate that, man. I'm gonna be honest with you, July has been an incredibly difficult month. Um, I'm not gonna go into everything that happened in this stream because the videos that I told you guys I have filmed and up, they go on it, and it's a topic I think is just better addressed the way that I filmed it rather than a live stream. But both of those videos, the deal is I upped them because the files were so large that I couldn't get them to transfer to my phone that I recorded on and my computer to edit. So I uploaded them directly to YouTube, set them as private, and then YouTube has a very rudimentary editing system on the back end where while the video is already uploaded, you can go and edit it, and that's what I'm gonna do. Because it's just jump cutting that needs done, and it's not even that much. So I'm hoping this coming week that I'll have those videos up. So that's gonna explain more of me, I guess, my statement that things have been really rough. But you guys know, the car was overheating. I couldn't drive it, couldn't work because the car was overheating. There was a lot going on, and so of course I was dead broke because I wasn't working. And in the process of all of that, I was trying to deal with mom being sick in the hospital, trying to figure out a way to get down there to see her, and then also trying to figure out when I was starting up and then moving out of state, which required me not only to get the car fixed and get the money to get the car fixed, but then to also be able to go back to West Virginia, get stuff out of storage, and it's been a whole mess. So, I might as well just go ahead and cover this now, because if you guys remember, last month, I started what I want to kind of be something I do in every live stream, where I set a goal to accomplish for the following month, and then we can talk about it and, how much progress I made. The only goal that I had set for myself last month was just to get to Indiana. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later, but I'm in Indiana. So this is just a blank wall, but this is my apartment in the fraternity house. And that's why I'm able to have my laptop set up, fast Wi-Fi, the light, all of that stuff, and not be in the car for once. So I'm here. In order to get here, I had to get the car fixed, which was a whole odyssey. Drive all over, get stuff packed up, drive out here. I'm still in the process of getting the car unloaded, getting the apartment cleaned enough, getting stuff moved in. And I've had quite a few Zoom calls and meetings for my job. The guys aren't gonna get here for another 3 weeks. So I have some time to get some stuff done and ready, but yeah, so goal accomplished. I'm here. AJ says, are you in your frat house apartment now? Yeah, I am in the office. So my apartment, there's separate rooms. You walk in off the hallway and there's the office on one side, and then there's the bedroom and bathroom on the other side. I am gonna film a tour for you guys. I need to do it before the guys get here, because I don't want to have to worry about getting permissions for them being on camera and stuff like that. The holdup is kind of, I don't have my stuff moved all the way in, and there's a bunch of crap that was already in here that I got to ask my boss about what to do with. But regardless, I'll give you a tour of the house, which will include the tour of an apartment inside it. Says, I used to be unemployed, and it was half my paycheck back then, so it was $250 at least, Canada. Yeah, last time I was on unemployment was during COVID. I want to say mine was the maximum, so it was $425 a week plus. Is that right? I don't know, something like that. And then there was the COVID supplement amount. So it ended up being $900 a week is what I was making. Which, by the way, guys, if you guys don't know about the lawsuit in Ohio against the governor, I am a party to that. I'm not the plaintiff, but I'm one of the plaintiff parties. I'm being represented by Mark Dan, the former attorney general. And we've got everything approved. Like, literally, there's only 2 small steps left. This has been a multi-year process. But essentially, the governor decided that he was going to not allow us to collect the rest of our unemployment, the pandemic supplement, even though he doesn't have a say in that. It's a federal program. So a group of us got together, took him to court. We won, but it's been appealed to the state Supreme Court, which we did win at the state Supreme Court. And now there's like a couple more stages. We will get the money. It's just of how fast Judge Holbrook makes his decision. But on the federal level, they keep saying, yes, the money's still available. It's still there. They're just waiting the outcome of this. So that's going to be, the attorneys are not charging fees. So I should get about $3,300, which is what was remaining when that comes out. Case says, how is your video project going? First chapter done. No, it's not even started. I knew that I had to get moved before I deal with any of that. Now in mind, yes, I've storyboarded a lot of it. I know how I'm going to present it. I know for the chapters that, I have like documentary evidence. I know what documents I need to be able to put on screen to show you guys all of that. But I knew I had to get here. I still have a lot to do of settling in. And keep in mind, I won't have any pay until August 1st. So for an entire month plus, I'm going to be just hoping I can get on DoorDash, which isn't looking good right now. But I don't have any other way of making money until I get my first paycheck. So all of those hurdles have got to be cleared. The guys have got to get moved in here. So it's going to be, at a minimum, early September before I can start filming that. And that's just to be able to get things like stabilized enough that I can possibly do it. I've got so much going on, and there's the stuff that went on this month that I'm dealing with that I told you guys I made videos about. I think when you see that, you're going to understand a lot more on my plate too. So I'm just doing the best I can right now. I'm in an opportunity where I have a little bit of an ability to get caught up, but I have so much to catch up on that it's like I'm getting things done that needed years ago, but I'm not sure that I like actually see the results of the progress just because there's so much to do. But yeah, as far as the first chapter, I would say at the earliest, probably October is when I'll be able to film it. And the reason for that is because I got an advance on my pay to move here. So my first paycheck comes in August 31st, and it's my living expenses for the month of September. But it's reduced by $1,000 because they gave me money to repair the car and to moved out here. So I'm only gonna get $1,500, and that's gonna be all my living expenses for September. And that's not gonna be enough, so I'm gonna have to do DoorDash or something. It won't be until that last day of September where the full $2,500 comes in, which will be the living expenses for October. That will cover all of my bills. And while I'm still gonna try to find some work on the side, having all the bills covered be the opportunity that I need to be able to start like on a massive project like that. Max says, the company said I could use them as reference, but when I land on my feet, I want to give them a bad review online and not my identity. They had no empathy for me and should have never hired someone in the first place for that position. They fired me on 450. They could not wait 10 they could not wait 10 minutes till everyone left. Did they do that on a Friday? Because that's pretty typical. They'll usually do it at the end of the day on a Friday, so that like it gives you time to calm down over the weekend. We'll come back on Monday and kill everyone, because I think that's what they're trying to prevent. What I would do is, yeah, use them as a reference if you'd like. Get your that you know you're gonna stay in, and then, yeah, if you want to review them, Glassdoor is probably the main place, and that's anonymous. And then you can Google reviews. I mean, depending on the situation, just make sure everything you say is true and you can back it up, because remember, it's not defamation if it's true. That's an absolute defense to it. So they might not like it and they threaten to sue you, but, well, they might even sue you, but you'll win if they do. Life X Dashana, I think. I haven't watched your channel in a while. Any update on suing your ex? Did you get your 4 million? No. So I have talked about this in live streams, but I haven't made the series of videos yet. That's what Case was talking about. Essentially, I'm going to make a series of videos talking about my whole relationship, what led up to everything, what all happened in court, and then what ended up happening with the lawsuit. I was just going to make a video saying, hey, I dropped the lawsuit. But then when I started figuring out what I was going to talk about in that video and explaining why I did that, I realized none of it made any sense if you didn't just know the relationship from the very beginning. But it's literally 12 years of my life, and there were so many twists and turns that just the volume of stuff that happened between the two of us, it's going to be a long series of videos just to get all that out there. So I did drop the lawsuit. I did that in January of this year. And I mean, I guess there's a couple of reasons that I did it. And I don't remember if I've done them previously on a stream. I kind of don't want to put them out there because I know the reasons, but it kind of ruins the whole story as far as why I did it. But what happened during the discovery process, stuff started coming to light, documents I got and those sort of things, where I was really like, something else is going on here. And I started having suspicions as far as like what I thought might have occurred. And then I did sit down with her in November of last year. So like 8 months ago, something like that. We sat down, we talked for like 3 hours with her under oath. I actually cut it short because I probably had another 3 hours of questions, but the ridiculous responses I was getting to stuff, I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere or get any answers by asking anything else. So I cut it short. And after that, because sitting with her, experiencing the answers she was providing, I realized that there was a much larger issue than her just doing something shitty or her making up false accusations. Like, there's a much, much bigger problem at play. And that's a big part of my decision to end it. I guess that's all I can say without going into all the details of it. So yeah, I will cover that in the entire series of videos. And like I just told Case, as far as starting that series of videos, that's probably going to be at least October before I can start filming those. because I got to get moved in and get the guys moved into the house and kind of get some money coming in and get my life together, because it's an epic. Guys, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 50 chapters, and I'm trying to make them about 10 minutes each. And I might release somewhere around like 5 at a time. But there's just so much there. And it's an absolutely epic project. So I'm going to do it, but it's just going to be a while. Max says, no, they fired me on Thursday. I know you're supposed to fire people on Friday. Yeah, I don't know what day I was fired. Well, not fired, laid off from Candid. If anybody knows what day of the week, February 16th, 2020 was, I got laid off then. They didn't even, well, they didn't tell me. I got an email about midnight. I woke up in the middle of the night and I grabbed my work laptop and checked my thing, and I saw I had an email, like a Gmail invite for a meeting, and it was at like 9 a.m. I think. Well, my shift was 11 to 7, so it was like my boss's boss's boss. So I declined the meeting, and then I emailed him back and I said, hey, I'm not in until 11, but I'll come to your office then. And I'm actually driving to work at, say, like 10:30 the next morning. And he actually, which we didn't use phones. We were a tech startup. Like, no one ever called me from work before. So he called me. He's like, yeah, don't come in. Like, we laid everyone off. And got home, checked my work laptop. They wiped everything. I was completely locked out of the computer, and I had to mail everything back to HR. So I'm not sure it was for a Friday for me either. Just a random day. Case says, my boss just fired a receptionist a few days ago. It was just a text message. That's all. Well, I kind of feel like that should be done by text, but then I'm not really sure what should have been done, like whether it be a meeting or what. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever gotten fired by text before. I've definitely been broken up with by text and email, but let's see. Oh, okay. So I asked, says, have you met any of the fraternity dudes? Not in person. I've had 2 Zoom calls after leadership. So some of the guys know me, and the rest of the guys in the house, they know they're going to have a house director. They know, like, of me. So we just set the date for move-in, and when they move in, I'm the one that has to meet them and, like, unlock the door. So I'm going to meet each of them individually, but it's 80 dudes and their parents. So I'm not going to remember any, really. But they have a welcome week here, which is like you live on campus, you don't do anything, and then classes start the next week. I ended up never having that in college, but so when they move in, sometime during that week, they have a training that they have to do. Their chapter is going to be here to lead that, and I'm probably going to go to it. And then I'm going to go to one of their meetings, like a chapter meeting, and I'll just speak for a few minutes, basically. Yeah, so my goal is just to get to know, like, the house manager, which is my person under me, who's an undergrad, and the chapter president and just kind of go to them for thing. And then I'll eventually get to know the other guys. But, I mean, it's 80 dudes. It's like 250 dudes in the chapter. 80 live in the house. So, man, it might happen eventually, but I'm more of a like, meet people one at a time kind of thing. Hey, JLH Archive. SB says, can you tell us about how it went down, total costs? Yeah, I'll tell you about it. Total costs, I probably can't. I'll have to estimate everything because that's been almost a month ago at this point. There has been a lot happen this month. So, yeah. So as of the last live stream we did, the car was overheating after driving it like a couple of miles. And at that time, I can't remember if I'd gone through the first mechanic yet or not. So the short version of it is this. I had the car, it started overheating, and I didn't know what was wrong with it. Like if it was, see, I'd had this upper radiator hose that had been working for like a year. And I thought, well, maybe it's that. So I got that replaced. And it turned out not to be that. Of course, it stopped the leak, and that's a good thing. But it didn't fix the overheat issue. But the first mechanic that came out just kind of ripped me off. He gave me a price and then said, oh, also, you know, if I have to diagnose, like, if it's still overheating after I rip the hose, then at that point, you know, I'll charge another $50 for diagnosis. Well, he ended up charging me $100 for that. He didn't diagnose where the leak was coming from, or the cause of the overheating, because I figured that out. He made a huge mess when he pulled the hose off. It got antifreeze everywhere. And because of that, I was able to see that there was air bubbling out of the radiator. So, like, I mean, I diagnosed it, but anyway, so at that point, I was like, shit, I've got to get a radiator. And I'm not going to go into all the details about this dude, but he kept trying to scam me and kept giving me prices. And then when I was like, okay, I got the money together, then he'd be like, oh no, it's like double that. So after a while, I was just done with him. Ended up finding a second mobile mechanic, and he was actually even a little bit cheaper, and I ended up using him, and he was fine. What I did is, because I had replaced the upper radiator hose that was like, it was just really mushy and worn out, I knew that probably the lower radiator hose was the same way. I've had the car since it was 4 years old, and I've never replaced it, so it's probably I was like, well, that hose is like impossible to get to, which is why I didn't replace it myself. So if I have to replace the radiator, then let's just replace the whole damn thing, everything, because I don't want to keep paying somebody and keep waiting longer and not working more and more trying to figure out what's going on. Let's just replace every part while torn out. So I did that. I replaced the thermostat, I replaced the lower radiator hose, I just replaced the upper one, and I replaced the radiator itself. Sort of a predicament of how I was going to get the parts. I ended up ordering them directly from Subaru because all of the radiators I could find at the parts stores like O'Reilly's and places like that, they were all generic and had kind of mediocre reviews online, and they had all these different ports, and then like depending on what car you put them on, you'd have to cover up the other ports. A lot of the reviews were saying that these things leak, and that's the last thing I want to do is like cheap out on a radiator and then have it leaking again. So I was just like, I'm just gonna have to get the money together to go to Subaru. So I ordered all of those parts from Subaru, including getting the coolant from there, because I don't know all that much about cars. I assume most people don't, but um, Subaru doesn't just take coolant, it also has a conditioner, and the Subaru branded coolant is pre-mixed with the conditioner. So I've been wanting for a long time to do a coolant flush because I have to top it up. It just looks disgusting in there. So I was like, okay, well, here's my opportunity. We're taking everything out. We'll put all new coolant in it. It'll be just like I got a flush. So second dude, met up with him on the 3rd of July. He pulls everything out. The other thing I'll say about the radiator is it was filthy. And actually at the bottom of it, there was a clump like this big of just, it almost looked like a bird's nest. Like it was just completely full of stuff. So I'm hoping it also makes everything run cooler, just because the whole radiator is not plugged up with just crap that the car. And everything got done. We bled out the system. Everything's fine. He also ran codes because my check engine light has been on for like 2 years, and he ran the codes, and it's nothing serious. There is a thing. It's the only part of the coolant system I didn't replace, and the code says it needs replaced. It's never caused me any problems. I'm gonna do it eventually. It's not like a huge priority. I can't even think of what it's called right now, but it's just a thing that unscrews, like some sort of sensor. So I can do that one easily. And then the other 2 codes, I wrote them down. I'll have to look them up again. They weren't serious. So yeah, I basically, that gave me a little bit of a relief knowing that although my check engine light is on, it's not anything important. It's something stupid that can just be replaced eventually. Let me see here. Oh, and then after all of that, so basically the whole thing's new. Brand new radiator, 2 brand new hoses, all new coolant and conditioner, and a new thermostat. And there was nothing, well, I don't even know if there's anything wrong with the thermostat, but I suspect that's what the issue was, that ended up making it get so hot that the radiator cracked anyway. But we went ahead and replaced that too, just in case. Now, the car does have some other issues. But I mean, this was the main thing to get me out here. The other issues with the car, and these are all new things. About a day or 2 before I got it fixed, it's now taking really long to turn over. And by really long, I mean like a few extra seconds to start. Like, I think there's something wrong with the battery, which is probably true. For some reason with this car, because I've had this car for, God, 7, 8 years, every couple of years to replace the battery. And usually it dies. Like, there will be nothing wrong with it, and then it just dies. It's not doing what it does now, where it's hard to turn over. I'll just go out one day and it just won't start. And that's happened several times. The last time I replaced the battery was 2021. There's a lot of corrosion on top. And yeah, I don't know where that's coming from. But anyway, so it starts fine. It just takes a little while to turn over. It does that every time it starts now. That started, right before I got the fixed. For a few days after I got the radiator fixed, I was having a problem with the power steering. It would always happen right when I start the car, and then as I go to pull out of the parking space, the power steering light comes on, and it will only steer with the power steering in one direction. I can't remember if it's left or right. Anyway, every time it's done that, I can just turn the car off, start it again, and it's fine. I don't know what that is. I Googled it. I found one other person in the entire world who has had that same issue, and they never seem to have found a solution to it. So I don't know. At this point, it's been probably 3 weeks or more since it's done that. And then the only other thing is now I have what I assume is an exhaust leak. It was literally on the trip here. I had stopped the car and it was fine. And then I started it and it's pretty loud. Like it sounds like those cars that don't have a muffler on them, and nothing happened in the meantime. It was fine when I parked it and started it up, and every time since then it's just kind of been loud. So that's another one of those issues where it's like, do I really need to fix that? Probably not. I mean, with the value of the car and the mileage on it, probably just deal with it being loud and instead focus my money on fixing things that are, more important for keeping it as a mode of transport. But I don't remember if I told you guys this or not. My goal was to get the car to Bloomington, where I'm at now. And once it got here, it was just going to be an around town car. Like, I'm not taking it to Indianapolis. I'm not driving it back home. Like, it's going to stay here. And it's fine to drive around town. So pretty much that. Pretty much I'm just going to have it here, and then when I need to go home over break, I'm gonna rent a car. I'm gonna rent a van, like a Sprinter van, so that when I go home over break, I can then also bring a bunch of stuff back with me from the storage unit. Case says, trying to find a second job right now. Any idea what night jobs are out there? I know hotels are always looking for, like, people to work night. Gas stations, night shift especially. Nursing homes too. I mean, if you have any of those kind of qualifications, I know, well, they're understaffed usually anyway, but then especially at night. Probably fast food. I don't really know. I mean, the other thing is you could do, if you have some kind of project you'd like to work on for yourself, you can just work on it at night when you have that free time. And then, of course, it can be during the day when everybody else is awake. Okay. Life X Deshana says, is this the same fraternity that someone threw some appliance through your window? Well, yeah, it's the same fraternity, but I don't think that it was the guys that threw anything through the window. I was living in the chapter house at BVU, and the reason I don't think it was the guys is because, like, I heard girls laughing after it happened, and I didn't hear any guys. So, but yeah, that was 22. So like January or February of 22. And it was late at night and someone threw a propane canister. It wasn't a big one. It was like one of the green ones. But I mean, it was enough to break a window. And then because it was enough to break the window, I then didn't have heat like for the rest of winter, because it would just go at the broken window. It was during COVID and we couldn't get a contractor out there. Case asked, do you know if you will get some inheritance? If yes, would it be enough to get an apartment? That might be a lengthy question to answer. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back. Oh, and by the way, this chair, this is one of the many things that just came with the room. I gotta ask my boss what to do with this stuff. But I didn't move any furniture out here because I couldn't afford to rent a truck, so I just stuck what I could in my car. But this chair looks like it'd be really uncomfortable, but it's surprisingly actually comfortable. Okay, so to answer your question, the easiest way to answer that is, I think, the easiest way to answer that question is that if I inherit anything, it's just going to be problems. Both of my, they don't really have much. And when I inherit things, so like for example, my dad, he doesn't have any other descendants or any relatives, so even though we're not speaking, most likely everything will go to me. Generally, it's naturally passed to your closest relative. The issue is, what does my dad have? Well, my dad has 2 cars that are ancient. One has over 400,000 on it, and he has a house that he's lived in since 1954 and done basically 0 maintenance to. Like, it's barely standing. It can't be insured. He hasn't had house insurance for years because no company will cover it. And he's also a hoarder, so it's just completely packed with stuff. And that's what I mean where if I inherit anything, I'm going to inherit problems. Because I know a lot of people, even on here, will be like, oh my God, that's great, you inherited a house. But I'm like, this is my worst nightmare. Because I'm going to be inheriting a house that is not livable in a neighborhood where you have to be constantly vigilant against break-ins, and I live 2 states away. Packed full of everything you can imagine a hoarder has, which is going to be an absolutely massive amount of time for me to somehow get to West Virginia. And so, not to mention that I'm also going to have to pay utilities on the house. That's going to be an additional expense. Probably, whenever the city decides to, do the code enforcement rounds and make me fix things, or even if it's just simply tear down the house, I'm still going to be the one saddled with that expense. And that's what I mean is if I inherit anything, I'm going to inherit problems. Now, on my mom's side, the hoarder situation is still, it's kind of the same. Mom has, like, in her nursing home, a ton of stuff. Most of it, since she sold her house, is in that storage unit that she has, which again is going to be a nightmare to try to go through. It's just so much stuff. And even if it's like, okay, well, I sell each piece of furniture and I can get a little bit out of it, that's great. But how am I going to be in that area long enough to as that and have people come out and look at it? I'm not saying it can't be done, but it is a logistical nightmare to do that. Now, it is possible with my mom. I could inherit some money, but it's probably going to be not a huge amount. See, mom is on either Medicare or Medicaid, and I always get those two confused, so I'm just going to use them interchangeably. But whatever it is, in order for her to go into the nursing home, they take her pensions and any money she has coming in, and then they bill everything else to Medicare. Well, in order for her to get on that program, she had to liquidate everything she had. She had to sell assets she has, including the house and stuff like that. So, that being said, they did a terrible job at doing it. And it's fairly frequent that mom gets a surprise call from somewhere, some company or some lawyer, and they're like, "Oh, hey, do you want to sell this?" And she's like, "I didn't even know I owned that." And that's been happening pretty frequently with oil and gas rights. And well, and then it's also happened from my stepdad's stuff. So apparently there were oil and gas rights that he owned that somehow didn't get put through the probate process. And so they just pop up. Now, my mom was incredibly bad at organizing her finances. She has no idea what accounts she has. So, of course, I don't either. Between that and how unorganized the whole process was of getting her on this liquidation program for Medicare, it's a very good chance things might pop up that nobody even knew existed. Now, if it pops up within a certain time frame, it's supposed to be liquidated and then go to the nursing home. But if it pops up later, it's possible that it could go to me. I don't know, it's kind of weird. But I'll give you guys an example. So I found out that earlier this year, mom found a life insurance policy that she had no idea she had. It was fully paid. It was only $16,000, or I think that's what she got of it. Because I found out with life insurance, it's like you get a percentage of the total coverage or something like that once it's fully paid. So she had to cash it in. The amount she got to keep was $16,000. And even though all the money's supposed to go to the nursing home, they much just told her to spend it on whatever she wanted, and anything that was left they would take. So my mom did pay her storage unit rent for the remainder of this year. So that's one thing I don't have to pay for at least December, is her storage. And that's one thing she spent that on. Although I really don't know where the rest of the money went, because I know she spent a few $100s on that. She told me that she ordered herself 2 larges, and that either $1,000 or $2,000 of that amount went to her nursing home account. So I'm not really sure where the other, like, $1,000 or like $10,000 is. I have no idea. So that's just an example of another thing that's just randomly come up. And there are some things like that. Like, where is my mom's car? No one knows. That's something I'm going to have to look into. My mom had a car when they put her in the nursing home. It was still sitting on her property when she sold the house, and no one knows what happened to it. She still owns it. So it's, you know, technically like part of her estate that's going to have to be dealt with. But it's like, is it? No one knows. So we're going to have to track that down. And I highly suspect that there are probably some either investment accounts or insurance policies or oil royalties or something like that that she has that she doesn't even know about and will eventually pop up somewhere that would go to me. Now, the only other thing I can think of, Mom bought a $28,000 wheelchair last year. How is that even possible? So what it is because she's in there, she can bill everything to Medicaid. Well, she bought this, it's like an electric wheelchair, but it's a really fancy one where it like straps to you and then it like pushes you upright and it just like rolls behind you, but you're standing as if like you're using your legs. And anyway, it's almost like it converts to like an exoskeleton. But anyway, she ordered this, and my cousin told me she only has used it 6 times. So it was $8,000 new. It's never left her nursing home. It's only been used in the hallway. And I mean, I'm not saying that like I could get $28,000 out of it. But half of that, a quarter of that, maybe. That honestly, unless there's some wild insurance policy out there that pops up, that's the only thing I know I would get that would be worth at least a few $1,000s. So, Case, to answer your question, would it be enough to get an apartment? Maybe. I couldn't predict when that's going to happen. Now, the wheelchair, yeah, I can probably get enough to get into an apartment. But the question would be why? Because I have an apartment now with the fraternity. And I don't pay rent or utilities, so I'm not trying to get myself back into a situation where I'm like straddled again all these expenses. Case says one of the employees here, his car went to mechanics, charged him $1,000, saying there's nothing wrong with it, but the car isn't driving. Everyone is scamming. It is bad economy. Yeah, that dude charged me double, and then he kept like trying to charge me more and more. Yeah, nah, I just wasn't like gonna deal with that. I paid him the extra 50 at first without saying anything to him about it because I was just glad that it was fixed. Just getting that hose fixed. So I was like, okay, fine, that's fine. Yeah, I'll just pay you 100, and even though you said 50. But then it was later on when he just kept increasing the price thing. And I Eat Ass says, will you tell the fraternity guys about your YouTube channel? Probably not tell them. I mean, they're gonna find it. So, I mean, there's not like hiding it. I mean, if they've Googled me, they found a way. But I'm not gonna like straight out tell them about it. The other thing is too, is I'm planning on filming a video like of the new place, which would be the house and then my apartment within the house. So, you know, they may well find that there's a video of the house on YouTube, which there already is, by the way. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the channel, but there's a channel that goes around to different fraternity houses and films tours. So there is one. I don't know. It's from like a few years ago, and it doesn't show my room in it, but so it's already on there. I guess I'm not gonna like advertise the channel. Like I'm not gonna go into the chapter meeting and be like, oh yeah, guys, I'm on YouTube. Like and subscribe. I think it would be better if they didn't watch, just so it wouldn't cause problems. But I mean, if they find it and they watch it, I mean, I'm on YouTube. I'm not hiding it from anybody. So now the fraternity knows, both my boss and my boss's boss, and they'll probably higher up too. I would assume, because it's my boss's boss, vice president of the fraternity, and then president. But I think they all know about it. So I guess they hired me back, so they're okay with it. Case says, don't say anything to your fraternity about this YouTube. No benefit, only risk. Yeah, the only benefit would just be like, you know, I'd get a few more subscribers, but I don't need that badly. I don't want subscribers that are going to cause problems, and they might. So, yeah, like I said to the other question, I'm pretty much just, it's just going to be out there, and if they find it, they find it, but I'm not going to advertise it. LA says, are you still sleeping on the floor? Do you have an air mattress? I know this is a step up from the car, but would be nice to see you a little more comfortable. So the whole sleeping arrangement right now is a little weird. Hopefully within the next 2 weeks it's going to get figured out. So yeah, I've been sleeping in the back of the car so I can lay down. But on the nights on the drive to Indiana, I actually just had to sleep in the front seat, sitting straight up because I couldn't put the seat back. So I couldn't do that because there's stuff in the back, so I literally just had to sleep like this, and then I was contorting myself over to lean on a pillow. So as of right now, here's the setup I have. I'm not sleeping in the bedroom. I'm sleeping in this, and I'll tell you why in a bit. I didn't move any furniture here, and you asked about my air mattress. I did not bring my air mattresses. The reason being, the last air mattress I had, before I almost got stabbed in Athens and I moved out of the apartment, was, it had a leak in it, and essentially I didn't want to bring that here because I have to fill it up every night. And the air compressor's loud as hell, and there's other guys living in the house. And then by the time you wake up in the morning, you're laying on the floor anyway. So I didn't. I also don't really want to spend the money to get a new air mattress because they're fairly expensive. And if you're sleeping on it every night, they don't last for very long. Everyone that I've gotten has sprung a leak fairly quickly, and usually I can't get the leaks to stop leaking. So what my setup is now is on the floor of the office. On the floor of the office, I have a yoga mat that I got out of the trash, that I was sleeping on in the car. And then on top of that, I have a camping pad. There's something wrong with it. It only lays halfway, so I'm not sure how much cushion that gives. And then wrapped around that is actually the old sheet from my bed. And then on top of that, right now, I have a sleeping bag. So that's my setup. So there's some cushion. I'm not sleeping directly on the floor. And even just having the stuff that I had in the car now laying on the floor in a building is a step up, like you said. Now here's the issue. When I moved in here, okay, I'm gonna back up. When they sent me the pictures of the place, there was a person living here because they had a house director before. And they sent me the pictures, and of course there was furniture in it because they were living here. Well, they left everything. Some of their personal stuff, not a ton of stuff, but some personal things, and they left all of their furniture, including the bed, which has a mattress on it. It even has sheets on it. And I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna sleep in that. That's gross. But what the hell do I do with it? Right? Is there a place in the house that I can take all this furniture, or do I Do I need to like pile it up a corner somewhere so that I can, move my things in? Because my plan was over break to go take that van and get some of my furniture out of storage and bring it back. And I talked to some of you off YouTube, and I was mentioning that I'm gonna go get a bed, like just a cheap bed from IKEA, and I would just like to build that, and so I'm not really sure what the whole situation is over there. I haven't had a chance to talk to my boss about it yet. We've got some other issues, like we don't have any keys for the house, so that's something that I'm trying to get sorted out. And that's kind of like on time crunch because the guys are moving in and are going to need keys for the rooms. So right now I'm trying to coordinate getting the entire house rekeyed. But I do need to ask my boss, like, oh, hey, like, what do I do with this? But eventually I will move into the bedroom. Eventually I will get my little $59 bed that I want. And I brought my slats with me from my old bed because the new bed I want to buy, they'll fit on there and it'll make it cheaper because I don't have to rebuy the slats. So I'm not sure there's a solution that can be just done right now. I have to kind of go through my boss and maybe wait until the guys get here and see, because there are some rooms in the house I noticed that they're just storing a bunch of stuff. And I think it's they're storing it until they get back. So maybe when they get back, I can put the extra furniture in there, if that makes sense. Let's see here. Okay, so I Eat Ass says, is this fraternity job long-term, or do you think it's a one-year thing? Or could you possibly be promoted to your boss's job? Well, I'm trying to think. So that's kind of complicated to answer. It's a one-year contract. Supposedly I can renew, and I mean, as of things stand right now, I intend to renew for at least a year, maybe several years, as I get myself back on my feet. But that's if they let me. And it's also, like if the chapter gets shut down for something they do, that would end that. Now, I mean, and they wouldn't send me to another school, but it would mess things up for a while. Another thing is our lease ends on this house after this year. So I may stay with this chapter, but then go to another house here in town. Or they might buy this house. That's a possibility too. So there's a lot of stuff that could happen. I mean, I intend for it to be multiple years, but it's not really entirely up to me. I have like a small say in it, but not entirely. And then as far as my boss's job, I kind of doubt, well, I don't know, the guys at Nationals kind of move positions around. They'll jump from one department to another, so it is possible that, he could leave. Now, I wouldn't be first in line to take his job. There are people that have been house directors for a good while longer. And there's one guy that they had present at our training who is a current house director, so I think he would be first in line for something like that. But honestly, I think that my boss probably gets paid less than I do. I mean, on paper, it probably doesn't look that way, but when you consider get free rent and utilities and a free meal plan, and he's required to work at our chapter headquarters, national headquarters. He has to dress up for work. He, I assume he's either salaried or hourly, I don't know, but I mean, he has to live in Carmel, Indiana, which is very expensive. He has to pay rent, utilities, all that stuff in order to work that job. I really suspect that when you factor in all of that, I probably make more than he does. Or maybe I should say I profit more than he does. So even if his job was available, I'm not sure that that's something that I would do. Case says, now that you mentioned it, your Second Amendment right still being violated. Get some stab-proof vest just in case. Well, okay. So when I did actually see my roommate once this year, just in traffic, driving around Athens. But yeah, no, that is one of the multiple things on my list of things to follow up with the lawsuit. And when I do all this, it's going to be in the updates that I post to that video series you were asking about. But yeah, one of the things I have to pursue is trying to get my Second Amendment rights back. And that's if I even need to. There's a huge dispute online. If you look for this under West Virginia, you'll see there's like one lawyer's website that says like, oh no, like once the restraining order, like it's just over. You get your rights back. And then another lawyer is like, no, like there's an entire process that you have to go through. It's not automatic. So I really just don't even think anybody knows. I did get the advice of one attorney who told me to just try to buy a gun, and do the whole background thing and everything, do it in West Virginia, so that it's the highest likely their law is applying, and see if I can get approved. But then again, I mean, the gun laws are so lax that like most of the time they don't do background checks. So I mean, I don't even know if I can get to that where I can get them to run one on me. And even then, I'm not even sure that would prevent it. So there's some stuff needs to be checked into, and that's one of those things that's not, how do I say, it is not a priority as far as time. I have the rest of my life to figure that out. There's a lot more pressing issues to deal with right now, but that is on the list to eventually get through, of things that I have to do to fix this whole situation. I Eat Ass says, did your former roommate get charged for that incident last year? Yeah, he did. So he was charged with, I think it was aggravated menacing. I wanted them to charge him for spitting in my mouth. I assume that'd be some kind of assault, or charge him with like attempted murder. But what they actually charged him with was like aggravating for holding the knife in a menacing manner, as if he was going to stab me. Honestly, like I kind of wish that. I mean, I'm glad they did something about it. But at the same time, it was an enormous waste of time. I was completely, like, just so in the mindset of dealing with my own lawsuit, and then I deal with this in the middle of it. I had to go to his trial. I had to testify. It was just ridiculous because he tried to play himself off as the innocent, perfect angel and all that. I don't know. I just, like, I'm glad they did something about it. I just think they charged him with the wrong things, and he just, I mean, nothing ended up happening to him. He didn't get, like, any punishment. If you guys hear that, I'm trying to... Okay, I got it. There was something on the light. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, they charged him. He didn't get convicted, but he also, like, he didn't, like, win, I guess, if that makes sense. Because basically, I was told by the prosecutor when he's like, do you want to follow through with the charges that I pressed? He's like, this is a slam dunk case because he do it on camera. And I was like, oh, well, I was kind of shocked. He admitted to trying to stab me. And he's like, yeah, there's no way that we can lose this. I was like, yeah, okay, sure. Then when I get into court, he's denying everything. And come to find out, the prosecutor lied to me. He didn't admit to it. And he was arguing that none of this happened. And then that's what it ended up being for the jury was they're like, well, it's just one word against the other. Like, we don't have pictures or video or anything. And I get that. Like, I think I'd probably think the same way if I was on the jury. I wouldn't want to convict somebody based just on testimony, but then I'm like, what the hell was the point of all of this? I got put through all those. I had to go down there and prepare and do mock testimony and all this stuff. So I'm like, this is just a massive waste of my time. Because, I mean, nothing. I don't know why the prosecutor prosecuted this case, because he should have known from the start that he couldn't win it. And I would have told him that if he hadn't told me that my roommate confessed to everything, which turned out not to be true. So, Case says, I remember that crazy roommate stabbed him over Diet Coke or something. Yeah. Yeah, and that's really what it was. And I totally disagree with the people that tried that it was about money, because he never brought up money. Like, that was one of the last things he mentioned that night. That was not what started the argument. And even when we went to trial, he barely mentioned money. It really was not about money, not what the case was about. Like, neither his attorney talked about it. My attorney didn't. Well, not my attorney, but as the victim in the situation, I was represented by the prosecuting attorney for the county. Like, that lawyer didn't try to make it out like that was the reason that he did this. So it really just wasn't about that. It really was about Diet Coke. Case says, I wonder if that story will make it into your video project. I'll mention it. I mean, it's kind of just going to be like, I'm obviously going to be, when I do a project, I'm obviously going to be talking about the girl and my relationship for the most part. But I'm also going to be putting it into context of what else was going on in my life at the time. And I might even say, like, well, at the time that this is all happening, I was working this job. And if you guys want to see more information about what I was going through then, I'll link here to the video I made at the time telling you about that job. Something like that, so I can put it into context. So yeah, I'm going to say, like, oh, well, like, in the midst of all of this, during my lawsuit, this happened. And this interfered with my lawsuit and that kind of thing. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to, I mean, I guess you guys are seeing me well enough because I haven't heard anybody but Case say anything about it. But on my end, I do keep getting, like, buzzing on the video. Okay, so, Case said, really? That sounded like assault. Did you get money, or is it a criminal, not a civil? No, it's a criminal case. Yeah, it was a criminal case. He got charged with, aggravated menacing. And then, of course, they found out during the court case that he actually, this isn't the first time that he's been charged with that. come to find out, he assaulted a police officer like a lot of years ago, and he pled guilty to that. And I don't know what exactly the punishment was for it, but this is not just a me thing going issue with him. Basically, the way that I can address it is he was a random Craigslist roommate, and I got pretty much what you would expect of a random Craigslist roommate. He was crazy and tried to stab me. I Eat Ass says, are you allowed to participate in the festivities during Rush Week? Yes and no. I'm not going to, but I mean, I'm probably technically allowed to as far as the chapter's concerned. As far as the Nationals is concerned, it's probably not the biggest deal in the world if I did, but I think they would prefer I did. Because I'm not allowed to drink with the guys, and I don't drink anyway. I mean, just for liability issues, like, the less I know about it, better. So I don't want to witness something. Oh, and then Eat Ass says, glad you got the car issue resolved, but it's kind of scary that a major issue could possibly be with no car. Yeah, I mean, that's always been something that's been looming over me, just because of my financial situation and then the reliance on the car, not just as transportation for most people, but also living in it. But that situation's pretty much over now. I mean, literally, if the car blows up today, it's going to be a huge inconvenience. But that's it. I live in what's considered to be a walkable community. There's mass transit here. There's also mass transit from here to the major cities, whether I need to go to Indianapolis, Chicago. I mean, I live and work in the same building, so I don't need to leave all that often. But there's Bird here, so I can rent a bike or a scooter. They have Zipcar or car sharing, which I am going to sign up for. And then there's Flixbus, Megabus, GoBus, all like super low priced bus options to get to cities and stuff. So I'm completely fine now that I'm here. This car has 242,000 miles on it. And it is fine to drive around town to go get groceries and stuff. And because I'm gonna so few miles on it, like basically, well, one, I mean, I'm not gonna be putting that many miles on it where it has an opportunity for something to go wrong. But two, because I'm putting so few miles on it, when I do fix things, I actually get to somewhat get caught up with repairs before something else goes wrong. So yeah. Sorry guys, I got a little bit behind on the comments here. Case says, I see the video dropping for a few seconds every once in a while. I just didn't say anything. And then SB says, it is glitchy and the audio cuts out sometimes. I Eat Ass says, same here, glitchy sometimes. LA says, video is glitching some, especially when you turn your head towards laptop. Well, that may just be, I mean, that is weird the video is doing that. So I don't have an extra mic. I have a cold shoe up here, but I don't have a mic on. I'm just using the phone's mic, which is usually fine. But yeah, so I can see definitely how the audio could do that when I turn over here. I'm gonna guess this does not have any caffeine in it. It doesn't say on the bottle. And I'm feeling caffeine withdrawal, so I gotta do the Diet Pepsi here. Okay, so I'll get it figured out. I'm hoping when the video re-uploads that it's gonna be more smooth rather than how it is here. But if not, then next month, maybe I'll just do this you know, like on my data rather than using the Wi-Fi. Case says get sponsorship from Coca-Cola. Their diet is to die for. I like Diet Coke's okay. I like Coke Zero more, but I'm kind of picky about it. Like I like it from the fountain, not so much like it from the bottle. Ashy Fox says, "Hey Mark, you're looking great." Thank you. I am just at the start of that journey. You know, I have gained so much weight, and I'm honestly, I'm finally at a place where I can store food, make food. It's been so good. Like I don't have a scale. I've only been here 2 nights so far. But when you guys see me in a month, I will probably be slimmed down a lot. This is really life-changing because like the whole thing about everything falling apart in my life, like that was just because of my situation. And the longer I'm able to stay in a situation where, you know, I have stability, I'm just naturally going to be able to get my life together really without trying. Fresh Light says, "You're finally there. Congrats." Yeah, thank you. It was an odyssey. Yeah, well, and I'm also here, well, in this job anyhow, 3 years late and without the girl, but yeah, here I am getting myself back on track from before that whole mess happened. So, I have legitimately so much. I know it's going to be a busy move-in week with the guys. After that, it's pretty laid back until move-out week in May. My job here is just to be present. I don't even do all that much, but it gives me time to work on the other stuff that I need to catch up on. I got to get years past taxes filed. I got to do this stuff to wrap up loose ends for the lawsuit and also make the entire series of videos about that. I have to figure out the storage units. I have to get back on track with making YouTube videos. Like I'm working on my business and I'm gonna do furniture assembly here and there. There's so much that's going on. My 13,000 unread emails I somehow need to get through. So it's not all gonna happen at once, but like now that I have this stability, I mean, it's gonna happen, and I've seen some very small things. But I think some of the stuff you'll notice right away is like losing weight, that kind of thing. I Eat Ass says, "Are you responsible for disciplining the guys if they break the rules?" I don't really know the answer to that. The answer used to be no. Now it's a little more of, well, it depends on who you talk to. When I did this job back in 2021, I was told, you know, I have no disciplinary responsibilities. Now it's more, I'm supposed to tell the guys up front certain things. I'm supposed to tell them like, hey, don't, you know, well, the biggest thing right now is fire safety in the house. So they're not allowed to have microwaves or candles. And of course, I also recently discovered that none of the microwaves in the house work because they're ones. So I'm gonna have to address that with my boss and be like, hey, you know, we can probably keep them from having the microwaves if we can get microwaves in the house that work. That kind of issue, that's why I'm here, to sort that kind of thing out. But like, yeah, so I can tell them, hey, you can't have a microwave. If they have a microwave anyway, what do I do about it? I mean, like, the only thing we can really do is I can talk to the house manager to send them to standards board, and you know they'll make them do community service or something. But that's through her. That's not really like on me. And even if this is one of the things I went over with us, but like say like something big happens and the police come here, I'm not even allowed to speak to the police. I have to go get the chapter president, and I can be there with the chapter president while they speak to the police, but I'm not allowed to say anything. So I'm gonna say mostly no for the disciplinary stuff. Um, but at the same time, I mean, I do have some responsibilities of like, I'm supposed to prevent them from destroying the house. Case says, how's the mom situation right now? Able to her soon. How much emergency fund do you have? Okay, so, and then Fresh Lights, I see that your question's about my mom too. So, as far as the mom situation, I want to tell you guys, I have those 2 videos I told you I made, and then I need to make a 3rd update to it. That's about that whole situation. I've talked to her. I did get to go see her in the hospital. So I feel like I should probably discuss it there. I guess not discuss, but I should address it there because I've already made the videos. And it goes over what all's going on with that. To answer your question, I was able to visit her before I came out here. And I spent quite a few days with her. Now, it really complicated the whole, I wasn't able to work while I was down there, and so I was super broke thing. But I was able to get down and see her. I hadn't seen her in person for, over 2 years or something like that. And so I spent time with her at the hospital. I spent time with her after she went back to the nursing home. And yeah, I got the car fixed. I was able to go do that. Logistically, everything has been a nightmare, but yeah, at least I did get to go do that. She got to the point where she couldn't talk on the phone. So in order to go see her, I have to be there. She's having a whole hard time holding on to the phone is what it is. After she came back to the nursing home, she's having some like issues with her hands, so she wasn't able to hold the phone. So I guess that's my answer to your video call question. Is that, well, she doesn't have a cell phone, so that would be the other issue. But it's just like a landline. Did I miss something? I feel like I missed something. Oh, yeah. The case said, how much emergency fund do you have? Less than $1. I don't know what's in that account, but it's less than $1. So with everything going on, and I mean, obviously, I just spent a huge amount of money on getting the car fixed. I don't have any money saved. What I'm gonna do, and I wasn't gonna talk this yet, but I do have a plan. I'll at least tell you this much of it. But basically, now that I am working and I have money, so I get paid $2,500 a month. And you guys know I like to compartmentalize my money. So what I'm gonna do is kind of like what I was doing at the beginning of the year, where I was like $1 per hour worked or $1 per delivery. That went to the emergency fund, and then another $1 went to, at that time, retirement, because I was contributing to an IRA. I'm going to hold off on the IRA for right now, and I'm going to kind of switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to do this differently. But basically, when those checks start coming in, because one check, month's expenses, I'll have all the money up front. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 10%. So 10%, 2,500 is 250. Yeah, 250, and then I'm going to split that in half. 5% is going to go toward the emergency fund. So that's $125. So every month I'm going to put $125 toward the emergency fund. Obviously that's in a high interest online savings account. And I don't have any foreseeable reason that I would need to access any of that, so that should just build up in the account. The other half of that 10%, instead of going toward retirement, is going to go toward paying off past bills, getting things caught up. The first priority is I need to pay my invoices from last year. I have court reporters that I have not paid yet. And I also have one $75 invoice from the, what does that do? The process server. So I just want to make things right with all those people, get those paid off. And then once those are paid off, then that money in that half of the 10% of my income is going to go toward paying off, past due bills, which at this point really comes down to mostly just the credit cards. So I'm going to get those right, which has the added benefit is that by the time we get to winter break and I need to go home, to rent a van and go get furniture, I'm going to have the available credit on my credit card to be able to rent the van. So that's the plan. We're going to do that at least through May because that's the end of my contract. So life should be a little bit easier. By the end of the contract, I should have $2,500 plus the interest accrued in that emergency fund. So yeah, that's my thought process. And also I'm on a precipice of my phone bill being a lot lower because I pay an extra like $44 per month for my phone because when it was 2021, I was still doing well. Unemployment hadn't been cut off yet. And I knew that taking this job back in 2021, 22 at WVU, I was going to basically taking a vow of poverty for a while. I went ahead and replaced my phone knowing that I'd need one that would last for a few more years. And it is going to be paid off in 2 more billing cycles. So at that point, my phone bill will be $44 less per month. So that'll help too. Let me see here. Oh, shoot. I think I forgot. Okay, Fresh Lights also asked about my mom. I got sidetracked somehow. Oh no, I did answer that about the video call. Aid asks, says, you still open to finding love? Are you on any of the dating apps? Yeah, I'm open to it, and I am on the dating apps. I mean, Bloomington's it's a fairly small town, especially during the summer, because it's mostly a college town and most of the students aren't here. Now this is a research university, so there are, I don't say it's quite like half the students, but it's not like most colleges where everybody's mostly 18 to 21. There's a lot of their grad students that might be up to like maybe 30, and that's fine. So I guess it's possible I could meet somebody here. I am only a 50-minute drive from Indianapolis though, which isn't ideal, but you know, I'm serious about meeting somebody, and Indianapolis is a major city, so it was good to meet somebody there. So if I did meet somebody online on one of the apps or from Indy, like that's decent. We could figure out how to make that work. So SB says, does your fraternity have a Narcan kit on hand? It is sold on Amazon now, 2 doses for around $40. So I have no idea they have in the house. I haven't come across one, but we did talk about it at the meeting we had last week. So it's kind of on the responsibility of chapter leadership to order it. But I think they're encouraging it, not requiring it. And I'm sure, so the training that we have at the end of August, well, they have, but I'm going to go to, the chapter advisor is running that, and well, it's kind of more about like responsible drinking and what to do if somebody overdoses or something like that, but like he'll probably cover that. And in Indiana, you can get Narcan for free. So if we want to go out, like, we can do that. Now this is also a dry campus, so that doesn't mean that they're not going to drink, but I think it's significantly like less of an issue to deal with than what I dealt with at WVU, which is whatever the opposite of a dry campus is. This is Indiana. It's very conservative. People really, I mean, alcohol sales even are really strict here. So officially the university, and I live on university property, is dry, which means no alcohol and no substances. And that does mean that any official events cannot have alcohol. So they may well do that. They might. Fresh Light says, good to hear that you visited your mom already. I Eat Ass says, is your furniture assembly business still something you could do on time from the fraternity? Yes. And that is actually a big part of the plan. I had a job lined up as I was leaving, and I was going to try to swing by Columbus and do it and then come out here. And then they wanted more time, and I was like, look, I can't, like, I'm in the state. But that was a moving company that hired me to put something together that was in somebody's storage unit. I do have one hit so far. I just posted the ads yesterday. But so far here in Bloomington, somebody wants me to build a bunk bed for them, and then they're getting a dresser here within a few days. So I can make a couple $100 from that, and that's a start. I'm going to try to do it locally here. TaskRabbit has been especially terrible lately, so I don't think I'm going to get many leads from that. But here in, let's say, 2 months, when I've got a little bit more of the credit card paid off and I've got some available credit on there and I'm able to get that Zipcar membership, the plan is that I'm going to advertise in like the southern third of the Indianapolis outer suburbs. I don't want to go too far, and I'm going to end up renting a Zipcar because I'm not taking my car. But I'll rent a Zipcar and then go up to do the job, and I'll get some more jobs from that area. I do also, if any of you know contractors in Indianapolis, I am looking for a subcontractor for furniture assembly in Indianapolis that'll be primarily doing City Center, Circle City, what the heck is that called? The middle of the city. And then like the north, like Fishers, Carmel, West something. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, but yeah, so I'm going to try to tackle the southern third, and then I'll have a contractor do the rest of it. But I find somebody. So, and it can't just be anybody. Like I gotta actually them. And oh, Fresh Light says, are you planning to save up for a new car? Well, I'm kind of doing something where I'm not making a decision about that right now. As of right now, I'm continuing to drive the car as is. And like I've told you guys, when I go back home, I'm renting a car. When I go to Indianapolis, which is not going to be that all that often, I'm going to rent a car. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm trying to make this car last as long as possible. And look, it has had a rough life. And it might go for another 100,000 miles. I don't know. But like, I just don't want to push my luck. So what I'm going to do is, for now, I'm going to do that, where this is just an around town car. That's it. And it's basically not going to leave Bloomington. And then that way it should extend the time that it's fine before I do have to do something. When well, in the meantime, I'm also going to fix things on it. Now, like the exhaust leak, I'm probably not going to fix that. But I have, there's some, well, I've got another damn leaky tire. That's a whole other situation. I only have to pump it up like once a week. It doesn't go flat. It just, eventually the TPMS comes on. So that's something months down the road probably to deal with, is get a fourth tire. And then at some point, I'm going to have to put some major work into the suspension. There's a bunch of stuff. I don't even know what it's all called, but there's a bunch of parts that are just worn out on the suspension that need to be done. That kind of stuff I will probably do. Things like fixing an exhaust leak or the other two random codes for why the check engine light's on, I might do those, but they're not a huge priority. One of the only main things, small thing that I'm probably going to do soon is just to do the engine air filter, because it's disgusting. I took it out and like beat it as best as I could to get the worst of the stuff out of it. But it's really bad, and it's only like $15. I just need to go do it. So small stuff, but stuff that contributes to the actual functionality of the vehicle, I'm still going to do. Other things that are cosmetic or are probably like vastly expensive, but it'll be okay without it, I probably won't do it all. But as far as saving for a new car, I'm not right now, but it's on my mind. The good thing being, I basically have two options. Number one, if something does happen to it, I'm in a place where I have public transit, I'm within walking distance of everything I need. I don't absolutely have to have a car. And then, so, I mean, I am employed now, I have my contract, so if something happens, I could go finance a car. And I don't want to do that. With not paying rent and making $2,500 a month, not including anything I do outside the fraternity, technically I can afford it. I can afford a car payment. I want to hold that off for as long as possible. And, you know, I'm building that emergency fund, but let's say that I get $10,000 in the emergency fund and then the car blows up. Well, I mean, that would be a pretty legitimate use of that, right? Like, I might buy a $10,000 used car. And that's going to be, you know, now that prices have gone up, that's going to be a really old used car. But I'll probably get another Subaru. I'll probably get one that's like 10 years old. So at this point, a 2014, which would be a year newer than the one I have, that maybe only has like 100,000 miles on it, that I can put another 100 or 150,000 miles on. So basically, I have so many options that I can't really tell you what direction I'm going to go. But I'm just going to try to prevent this one from getting any worse, while simultaneously keeping my options open for either saving for a new one, maybe leasing a car for a while, or having my finances together to be able to get another car loan if that's the option I have to go with. Case says Narcan kits are free here in Canada to combat drug overdose. Yeah, it's free here. It depends on the state. I know West Virginia's free. I was told Indiana is. I think Ohio is. But yeah, that's something that they'll look into. John Phillips says, morning all, just got up. Where are you, John? Are you, I I think I ask you this every stream. Are you in Australia, maybe? All right, SB says, we have them free in my area too, but it is injectable. It comes with 2 vials and 2 syringes. The ones sold on Amazon are nasal sprays and are easier to use. Yeah, all the ones I've ever seen are nasal sprays. I would not be able to do the syringe thing. I'm terrified of needles, and I don't know anything about. I've never injected anything into anything, so I wouldn't know where to stick it in a person. I'd think I'd put it in too deep. I'm like stabbing them in the bone. There's just a lot to be concerned with there. I'd definitely do the nasal spray. I'm definitely feeling lack of caffeine. Oh, and by the way, guys, last night I finally got my toaster oven out of the bar. For dinner, I had triple pepperoni Totino's pizza rolls. I did 25. It's half the bag, and it's like 800 calories. But honestly, compared to the fast food that I've been eating, that's probably one of the healthiest things for a while. I'm just so happy, whether it's a frozen dinner I warm up or this, that I can eat something other than fast food. I've eaten nothing but fast food for 14 months. So I do really expect that the weight is just gonna melt off of me, because eating like an asshole on purpose, it's just my situation. So I've literally only eaten out once since I got here, and it was yesterday for lunch. I went to Jimmy John's because I had a coupon for a $3.99 sandwich. And then after I placed the order, because I placed the order, then it me my next reward for a free bag of chips. So then I placed a second order just for a bag of chips. So I ended up getting, a regular sandwich and a bag of chips for $3.99. And that was my only time eating out since I've been. I eat ass says, are you doing food delivery and rideshare? Well, I'm not doing rideshare like with passengers. I stopped doing that back in 2018. And the only other time that I've done it is in 2022. I did 5 rides on Uber because they sent me this thing saying like, hey, you haven't driven forever. We'll give you $300 extra if you do 5 rides. So I did the 5 rides to get the $300, and then that's it. I am still doing food delivery. I was going to talk about this in another video. I will. I promise I will make this video. But I am going to stop doing DoorDash and Uber Eats and Instacart. I mean, you make money, but you're barely profitable. And part of the plan is I'm trying to get my car rehabbed. And to do that, I got to stop putting so many miles on it. I'm in a situation now where I live and work at the same place. And I don't need, like, I have so much stuff I got to pass taxes, paying off the credit card. I need more than $2,500 a month, but my expenses are well below $2,500 a month. So once the full paychecks start coming in, like October, I will be completely able to live off just what the fraternity's paying me. And they don't expect me to do all that much. It's at most a part-time job. They said about 20 hours a week is what they expect. And once I kind of get everything sorted out, you know, I get everything streamlined, know what I'm doing, I can get to maybe 10 hours a week. So I'm working 10 hours a week for $2,500 plus free rent and utilities and a meal plan. I'm not going to hardly have any expenses. My expenses are going to be things like the student loan payments, the credit card minimum payments, and so anyway, in order to continue to make things better, once I have that stability of enough income, once I have that going on, then I am going to stop doing DoorDash and all that stuff because it's a massive amount of time. Like, if you could see the hours that I put in a DoorDash, sometimes I work 60, 70 hours a week just waiting for orders. I mean, I could be doing so much better things with my time. Not doing this, that I'm also not going to be putting the wear on my car. I'm not sure if my car can actually even depreciate anymore, but if it can, it'll prevent that. And, you know, yes, you make money doing it, but it's so little. And I could be sitting here having all my bills paid and instead be advertising for furniture assembly or looking for contractors to bring in. Because, by the way, guys, if any of you are in Cincinnati or Louisville, let me know, because those will be the next cities I get into. Of course, obviously, you're going to need to be able to build IKEA furniture, but or if you know of anybody, let me know. Because I'm going to be looking for a contractor in each of those cities probably before January. But yeah, so I'm still doing that. And it's just, I just feel like once I get this done, once the paychecks start coming in from this job that I'm doing now from the fraternity, not only am I gonna be able to start paying things off very quickly, but like, it's gonna be great because I probably won't do it the first couple months just until I see how it goes, but I'm going to be able to put money away I'm going to be able to put money away to build and like, I don't know why I'm getting off track here. Basically, I'm saying I'm going to have extra money to pay the credit cards off quicker. Credit cards are what I'm going for first, so that I have the available credit for things that you need that for, whether I need to stay in a hotel, whether I need to rent a car, have available credit to put that down that credit card deposit on it. So those are the first thing that I'm going to do. But then after that, with the extra money. And then also, if we go into a second year, so let's say they renew my contract, I'm here for a whole second year. Starting next year, I'm going to reduce the amount that I'm living on. Let's say that they keep it at $2,500 per month next year. Well, what I'm going to do is probably take about $250 out, maybe $200, from every one of those paychecks. And I'm going to put it in a separate account. Living expenses for the summer, because for the months of June and July, I don't get money. So that way I have that prepaid. I'm not able to do it this year because I have so much stuff to pay to get caught up on, but this will be for the second year. Between the third year will be the summer that I already have everything prepaid for, and I still have to go back to Ohio to try to figure out this whole storage unit situation. Which means that either one, I'm gonna have to sleep in the car for the summer, or two, I can sublease a room for the summer at Ohio University. Now, it's still a 45-minute drive to where my storage unit is, but the area where my storage unit is, there's no chance. You'd be lucky to find an apartment. They're not going to rent it to you for 2 months. But I already looked into pricing, and it's about $600 a month to sublease a room in Athens at like one of the nicer places. Okay, I'm getting behind on these. Okay, but I eat ass, just to answer your question. Soon, I am going to be stopping doing DoorDash and all that stuff. But it will probably be, most likely I'll still be doing it until October, because I will not have any money coming until August 31st. So I'm gonna have to live completely off that until then. Okay, I'll be right back, and I think there's like 3 or 4 more comments I gotta get to. looking on the screen, just the empty chair sitting there. It looks like it's like some kind of like torture room. Okay. Light says, do you get to use any university facilities on the campus? Well, no. I'm in a really awkward spot. I live on campus, and I don't get anything. So yeah, here's how this works. So I live physically on the campus, but I don't have a student ID card, or well, any card. I can't get a parking permit. I do have a reserved parking space for myself. Like it's got a sign that says reserved for house director. So I know if I park there, I won't get towed. But officially, no. So that's actually really weird because I'm basically this weird old dude on campus. I'm always on campus. I don't go to school here, and I don't technically work here, right? Because you guys will hear me say like, oh, I work for the university. And it's like, well, I don't technically work for the university, but I live at the university, and it's this really weird thing. Now, so far, I am on 3 university committees because even though I don't work for the university, they want us to be active in the same way that faculty would be. So I've got 3 Zoom meetings coming up for the different things that I'm already involved in. It's mostly through the Office of OSFL is what they call it, Office of Sorority and Fraternity Life. So it's almost as if I do work for the university. I just don't get any of the benefits. I don't get access to the fitness center. The one good thing to say about this university is they do have guest Wi-Fi. A lot don't. I've faced that a lot. So that's a good thing. And a lot of the facilities here are open 24 hours. I've noticed that even during the summer. So I can kind of use some of the facilities just in the sense that like anybody could walk in and use them. So at least that going for me. I am going to have to figure out a gym. They don't seem to have very good gyms here, and I can't get in. Well, maybe I could get into the student one. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure I'd have to pay, but I don't know. I'll look into it. I asked says, would you consider living in an RV to avoid rent in the future? Yes. I mean, you know, that's not like a solution, but absolutely. I've talked in previous live streams that whether it be from living in the car or now working a fraternity job, I'm done with rent. I'm not paying rent again. Now I know I just said I might for a couple months during the summer, but for the second year, I'll have living expenses saved up. Rent is like the biggest expense. And then of course, if you have rent, you have utilities, you have renter's insurance. There's all this stuff. You got to buy a parking permit. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to get ahead. So what I would like to do, it's going to be year 2, probably, maybe year 3 of me doing this. What I would like to do is I want to look into buying some land. Not like a ton of land, but some. And yeah, you're right. I would like to buy like a used RV. Not like a sketchy old one from the 70s, but you know, one that's a few years old. Because those things depreciate like nothing. I mean, they're like, some of the ones I was looking at are like $100,000 new, and then a few years old, they're like $25,000. Like I've never seen anything depreciate like that, but that's good for me because I'm looking to buy a nice newer-ish used one. And it's going to be a little rough, you know, because I'm going to end up having to set up like solar. I'm going to have to set up a way to get like water going, that kind of stuff. But of course, having lived in the car, it's way easier than that. And yeah, and I would do that. Like I'd set that up. I'd live that way for a few years, up until the point that then I have money together to buy a house, build a house, whatever. But yeah, I think way forward to be able to make enough progress is really just to do whatever I need to do to avoid rent. Fresh Lights. Are you going to start making monthly budget review and other finance related regular videos again? So I always try to touch on finances when I talk about stuff, because still in my mind, a lot of the stuff I do is like related to that. Like I always kind of have in my mind like how this affects my finances. But I mean, yes, the answer to your question is yes, but I'm not sure when, and I'm not sure in what format. I have to get to a stable enough place that I can do that. Now, one thing that I know, probably the first one that you'll see that has anything to do with that, is I have to find a replacement for Mint, because if you look at my old videos, all of my videos were through Mint, and that was the budget review and the Budget with Me series. We're using that software. Well, it ended this year, and I don't know that there's necessarily like a good, clear replacement for it. So in order to start making any videos, I'm gonna have to find something to replace it. And I've narrowed it down to 3 companies that like aren't exact replacements, but I'm gonna try to make them work. And so what I think I'm gonna do is do some kind of video comparison where I try, say for 30 days or 90 days or something, I'm gonna learn all 3 of them. I'm gonna categorize all of my transactions. I'm gonna try to do budgets. I'm gonna try to do like looking at the trends, like the graphs and stuff it makes. At the end of that, I'm gonna show, okay, well, this is the one that I'm gonna choose, that I'm only gonna have one of these programs that I categorize all my transactions through every month. Here's the one that I'm going with. This is the reason why I'm choosing it over the others. And then at that point, after I've made that video, the comparison, then I can go and I can start doing at least the budget reviews every month. Maybe the Budget with Me's. There's a lot to consider, because yeah, I mean, there's a lot to consider. But yeah, I mean, my intention is in some form to do that, yeah. It says, did you check your container to see if there is anything you can use in your new room? Furniture. So I've been in my storage unit and my mom's, and there is stuff that I could move, but I'm gonna have to wait December or January. It's gonna be whenever Christmas break is here, where I can rent a van, drive it back, load it up, drive it back here. I'm doing that because there are a few things that I could use here. Honestly, that was the plan. Now that I found out the other day that possibly they don't know what's happening with this house next year, I'm like a little hesitant to bring like a whole bunch of my stuff here and get it in permanently, but it would be nice to have some more. So I don't know, I have to find a balance with that. But yeah, I mean, mainly I want to buy a new bed, and I did bring with me slats from the old bed to use on the new bed to save money that way. I want to buy a new mattress, I think. There's anything necessarily wrong with the old mattress. It's just, it's from 2008. So I think you're supposed to replace a mattress every few years. And it's been almost 20 years. Right? What year is it? 2024? Okay, close enough to 20 years. So anyway, I was planning on when I got the new bed, I would just sleep on the yoga mat and everything on top of the slats until I could then afford a mattress. Get the mattress shipped here. And then it would be nice dresser, and I do have a pretty nice dresser in my storage unit that I actually got for free off Craigslist like a long time ago. I will probably bring it. There is like a baker's rack. It's a short one. It's only got like levels, but it's that type of shelving. I want to bring that. That's going to be basically my kitchen stand. I have no idea what that was. There's also an office computer in here that has to be from like 2001. I think that's what made that noise. I've just never heard it do that before. And anyway, got sidetracked, but honestly, they're like, the thing I need is a couch, and I'm gonna have to buy that. I don't have one, and I am not gonna be extravagant with it. I'm literally gonna get, I don't remember what it's called. It's the one at IKEA that's $300. It's not the most comfortable thing, but it's fairly comfortable. I've tried it at the store. It's the leather one for $300. Just very basic looking, but it'll work for what I need. And I'm gonna get that. That's really, like, honestly, I don't need that much. I think that's fine for everything that I'll need. A bed, so a place to lay, a place to sleep, and a stand to put my kitchen stuff on. I think I'll be good. Oh, and I'll probably bring my coffee table. I couldn't bring it this time because there was a bunch of stuff sitting on it, but I'll clean that out. My coffee table, my roommates bought it back in college to use as a beer pong table. It's cheap. They probably paid like $20 for it, but yeah, it's another place to have like another workstation. So if I get the couch, it'd definitely help to have the coffee table too. But again, especially with not knowing if my contract will be renewed, not knowing if I'll have to move again if they put us in a different house next year, I don't want to go like all in and get like all settled into this house. I don't know how permanent this is going to be. So I just kind of have to weigh that. Okay, so Aida asked, with the fraternity job, since you were on a contract, is it an independent contractor job where you gotta withhold your own taxes? Yeah, so it is. It is paid $99. Now, the thing about that is I do have some expenses. Like, just to give you a quick example, before the guys get here, I'm gonna have to get a sign made for my door that has like my contact information, and then also a QR code they can scan to put in work orders into our computer system. So, that won't cost that much, but it'll take, a couple dollars at FedEx office to get that printed out, and then the mileage to get there and get back, buying tape to tape it up there, that kind of thing. I mean, it's not like huge expenses, but anything like that I can write off that would come the amount that I have to pay for taxes. But you're right, in general, I will have to pay taxes, money. Now, my income will be so low though, because $2,500 is considered like very low income. I'd be in the 10% tax bracket. So my actual taxes at 10%, I mean, this is a rough estimation, but at 10%, my taxes per month would be like $250. And then actually be a little less than that, because it would be the $2,500 minus my deductions, and then 10% of that. So it'd be like maybe $225 per month, which is still a lot. But you know, it's not any terrible. I can kind of keep up with it. Case says, do you shower and all that? Yeah, so I'm sitting in the office. I'll just have to wait till I give you guys a tour of it. But basically around the corner here, there is like a cabinet that has cleaning supplies and a hot water tank in it. And then beyond that is the bedroom, and through the bedroom is the bathroom. It's pretty small, but it does have a full-size tub with a shower. Now, I will say this place was not super clean when I got in here, and the bathroom was a couple steps of gross above that. It was not at all like when I got to Morgantown and it, like, nothing in there worked, and the fraternity had to send in like a professional cleaning crew. It's not like that, but I'm gonna have to clean it before I'm like super, like, I've been taking a shower in there, but I've actually been using the guys' bathroom across the hall because they're not here yet, but that's actually cleaner than mine right now. I'm kind of in this process of like getting stuff out of the car, getting that stuff cleaned up, also figure out what to do with all the furniture in here. Yeah, so I'm in that whole process. But yes, I do have a shower. I have been showering in there. Not so thrilled about the whole like toilet and sink situation. After they're clean, they'll be fine. I just gotta block out time to actually do that. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I worked for a cleaning company when I was in college, so it will be clean, and I'm very particular about that. Plus, we do have maids. They're just not here during the summer. So basically, I'm gonna get it spotless. And we do have a ton of cleaning supplies in the janitor's closet down the hallway to use. But I'm gonna get it like spotless. And then the school year starts, the maid is here twice a week. So we do have a maid and a private chef that'll be keeping this stuff up. LA says, do you have access to any medical or dental services if needed? Nope. I mean, not that I have at any point prior either, but no. Now, technically, because I'm an independent contractor, if I decide to, say, use the healthcare marketplace to get health insurance, I would be able to completely write that off, like the entire amount of what I pay monthly. So that might be, once some stuff gets paid off, that might be something I'll consider. The current plan is over Christmas break, when I'm back in Ohio, I'm gonna go to my same dentist and get my teeth cleaned. I would like to do some whitening, but yeah, cleaning's the priority for right now. Cleaning done. And then I need to get new contacts, but I might be able to do that here. My prescription just expired, and I am on the last left contact I have. My eyes are different prescriptions, but I can't just order more because the prescription's expired. So I might go here. The university here has their own healthcare system. So I might go here, get a new eye exam, and then order contacts that way. But that's probably not gonna be able to happen until October, end of September, beginning of October. LA says, enjoying the live stream, but would definitely consider using your data for the next one so it is not so glitchy. Glad you seem to be moving forward toward your goals. We're rooting for you. Well, thank you. I mean, well, for rooting for me. Yeah, and I would that. I don't know what's going on because I haven't had any issues with it. I don't know. And like I said, I did the speed test and it's really good. It's really high for speed, so I don't know what's going on. If I had any idea where the router was, I could try to reset it, but I'm in a giant, like 40-bedroom house, so I have no clue where it. So yeah, I will. I mean, I'm at the very beginning. I'm definitely not seeing really the effects yet of anything getting better. I'm sleeping on the floor. It's been 2 nights. I don't even have a completely functional bathroom yet. And it'll be more than a month from now before I get any pay coming in. So it's going to be a really rough next 30 days or so. And even when I do, I'm only getting $1,500 on August 31st because I took that what is that called? It's not an advance on my pay to get out here. So yeah, that's where things are. I had one thing. I made myself a little note here. Okay, so I did the drink of the day. I did the goal review. I do need to set new goals for next month. So basically, the goals that I set now we'll review on August's live stream, and I want to make and get. I want to make sure I get those done. So here's what I'm thinking as far as goals. I know it's going to be really rough financially the next 30 days. So what I'm going to do is I think the goals are going to be, I just need to get this place, my apartment, cleaned to an acceptable standard where I'm using everything in here and get that situation with the furniture sorted out. Doesn't mean I have to have my own. I just need to get this other furniture out of here. And then another little side thing that I want to make sure I accomplish is I don't know if you guys know what it is, but the Ipsos ScreenWise panel, I do that and make like $2 a week doing it, but somehow I lost one of their routers, and I think I found it. I brought all the boxes and everything I had for them from storage. I brought all that with me. So that whole situation taken care of. Identify which router it is they need and get that mailed back to them. So that's like my personal project that I want to have done by next month. And I would also like to oh shoot, I just forgot what the third one was. Like the worst. What is it called? It's the memory that's like right there before it goes into long-term memory. Well, shoot, I don't know. Hopefully I think of the third goal. And if not, I'll just tack it on. And we'll talk about it next time when I review it. Okay, so I Eat Ass says the time flies. I've been subscribed to you under various names since your Jimmy John's video. That would have been 2016. Yeah, I still have the hat actually. Yeah. I know you guys saw me wearing this in my vlog. Actually, so to me, it's just a hat. I had another hat that I wore and I think it got worn out. So Jimmy hat, and I've just been wearing it since then. So anyway, so that thing's like 9 years old now. But anyway, yeah, that's cool. People haven't been around all that long. A lot of people have kind of come on board the last 2 or 3 years. But, man, it's gonna bother me. I can't remember that third goal. That's all right. We'll just tack it on next month, because otherwise I'm going to sit here in silence for 10 minutes thinking about it. Jimmy John's? No, I would not work there again. I don't want to with food. I had kind of a hang up about it when I got hired there. I just did it because I was in a place where there weren't very many available jobs, and I know that they were always hiring. But I went in there and I was only a driver. I didn't do in-shop. I never made sandwiches. So that made it better. I am not super comfortable working with food, and I definitely don't want to like touch people's food. But like, you know, I still eat there. Like I got a sandwich there yesterday. I am upset that they don't have Dijon anymore. So if you guys want to know my order at Jimmy John's, here it is. It's number 8. That's the Billy Club. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the lettuce, tomato, and mayo. You're going to add Jimmy peppers, and then on extra Dijon. Cut that thing in half. And yeah, so that's it. That's a lot of alterations. They always act like I'm crazy at the register, but that's it. They don't have Dijon anymore. They did away with it like a year ago. And I legitimately am at a point where I stopped going to Jimmy John's because I couldn't get my sandwich with Dijon. But I'm gonna be that dude who has a little of Grey Poupon in his car, like in the commercials. So I can just add it on there so that I can get a sandwich. But yeah, I just don't think I'll work in a restaurant again. And that's actually something I wanted to discuss with you guys too, because it's kind of in a future video. But I think there's always a possibility that I could get another part-time job while I'm here. Instead of doing DoorDash, maybe I could work for Christmas season, something like that, just to bring in some extra money. So, or maybe I can get a remote job and I can just work here from the house. IE says, would you date a student at the college? I mean, I don't see why not. Like, I think it would probably be more on them that they probably wouldn't want to, because I'm 39. But being 39, I'm not going to go around campus like seeking out a college age girl, because that would be creepy. But I suppose if, you know, if I met someone and she was interested, I'd be okay with it. There could be issues with like interests and maybe maturity and things like that, and those would have to be worked out. But it's possible. I'm not opposed to it, and I know that's not a popular opinion, because like I have had people come at me before and be like, you know, that's like, you're way too old, and I'm just like, I don't generally date anybody older than me. Maybe a year could possibly work. Looking back, like the girl, you guys all know who the girl is. She was 4 years younger than me. The Amy Jo, the girl I dated, she was about 10 years younger than me. And I have dated a girl that was 10 years younger than me. So, I don't know. It can work. because I'm not really 39. My body is 39, but I'm not like other 39-year-olds, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but I'm not. I don't have any plans on getting old. You know, I'll learn my lessons, learn to be more mature, things like that, but I don't ever want to be old. And I don't think I will be. So, the only hobby I have right now is working, making money. I don't really have time for hobbies because I'm constantly like struggling financially. I don't think I'm gonna branch into that too much just because once I do get into a place where I'm not struggling, I want the extra money I make to be getting me caught up on things. So I think, I mean, if I could say I have any hobbies right now, it's probably gonna be hiking, which is hard to do in Indiana because everything's flat. And I do like some video games. Uh, so, I mean, I play PUBG Mobile, which is kind of old now, but I still play it every few days. And then you asked if any big plans for turning 40. Hopefully not being poor. That's my big plan. You know, I don't know anybody anymore. You know, I've kind of lost everybody around me through this whole, call it the divorce thing, but like all of that has kind of driven everybody away. So it's just me, and I'm not I'm not planning on anything. I'll do something special on that day for my, you know, take myself out to a nice dinner or something. But no, really not. Um, maybe have an existential crisis, something like that. Uh, Aid asked, did you tell your mom you were car living? Yeah, she didn't really seem to care. She didn't really react to it. Um, I know you guys. I know most people, I think, kind of assume that I have a relationship with my parents. Like most people have a relationship with their parents. Um, and I know sometimes people will say in the comments like, "Oh, well, like, you know," correcting other people, saying like, "Oh, well, you know, it sounds like he might not have a normal relationship with his parents." And I think that's kind of true in the sense of like what you asked about, because like, yeah, like I'll tell my mom stuff like that, and it's just like, oh, okay. Um, you know, like I would think that a lot of parents would be very concerned, or like, you know, try to help or something, and I don't really ever get that. It's kind of like what I said, and I'll probably say this in that series of videos, but I always said this about the girl. So like, as much as she's vilified her mother to me, at least her mom like took care of her when she got sick, because she got sick when she was 23, and that was like, you know, she's like full on adult. She was still in college, but for most people that's post age. I mean, you're pretty much on your own. But her mom let her move back home. Her mom took care of her, took her to the doctor, all this stuff. And I thought about that. I was like, you know what? If I got super sick like that, like I would tell my mom, um, like I think my mom would say something along the lines of like, oh, that sucks, and she would like genuinely be like me and be like, oh, yeah, like that's unfortunate, but that's as far as it would go. Like I would have, she would have just let me die. She would not have helped. Um, and I think that's the difference. Same with telling my mom I live in the car. It's just kind of like, oh, okay. I just missed one of your comments. I Eat Ass asked, have you thought about being a paid at-home caregiver for her? No, I know what program you're talking about that's paid. We've agreed that I'm not going to do that. And I also don't have those skills at all to do that. It doesn't pay anywhere near what you think it does either. I Eat Ass says, if the girl apologized for everything and want to get back together with you, would you? No. No. I mean, if she said that, it would almost kind of make things. Well, I don't want to say it'd make things worse. It would make things very awkward. The problem is, and when I make that series of videos, I'll tell you guys about this in detail. There's so many things that she's done that she can't undo. And, I mean, if she came back, she apologized, I wouldn't trust her not to do any of it again. But yeah, also stuff she can't undo. It's like I can't be with somebody who's done this, and I didn't want you to. So it's just the only way that I would see. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't let her back in my life. Like, if she legitimately could, like, prove and document somehow that she had completely reformed herself. Because I do care about her. But I would have to tell her that we cannot be in a relationship because of what she's done. And I would have to... I mean, if you guys think about Jenny and Forrest Gump, where, like, in the end, she comes back after she has AIDS and has a kid, and she comes back basically to him, like, safety and to die. Like, I would take care of her in that situation, despite everything done. I wouldn't get in a relationship with her, but she's a special person to me, and I would help her, but she can't have me back in the kind of way that you're meaning, I think. The Jenny bump into the movie kind of thing is the best way I can describe it. Like, back, I take care of her till she dies, bury her with the family, whatever. Not like really, but that's what happens with the movie. She's got her own family to be buried with, but that kind of thing I would do for her. And I'd even be her friend, right? Like, we could spend last days together and hopefully get along. But I'm not super negative toward her. It's just I don't know how she would ever possibly repair the things that she's messed up. Okay, so sorry about your relationship with your mom. Yeah, I wanted it to be better. I don't know why it was that way. And you asked, do you still recommend college for someone graduating high school today? Yeah, but I mean, really, for the same reason I went. It's not necessary. Like, it's not like, because, God, what year is it? 2020? Oh my God, okay. Yeah, I graduated high school 21 years ago. Back then, you had to go to college. If you didn't go to college, you were just a total piece of shit. And society, teachers, parents, everybody, they made that clear. That's how they felt about you. I don't feel that way anymore. People don't so much expect that that's the only option, that you go to college. And I think that you know, if you tell somebody you're not going to college, they're way more accepting of it. So it's not like that. But I do think that you should go to finishing. I'm saying that like college for me was like a finishing school, especially just to be socialized. Um, so it did me so much good to be socialized and to kind of find myself in college. And that is something outside the educational part of it, but you need that. Um, and I think that that's the benefit of it. It's not the direct thing that college is trying to do, but it's something that does happen by being there. And that's the most valuable thing that I got from it. And then you said, are you going to have to mentor the fraternity guys? Nope. As little contact as possible is actually the goal. As far as the fraternity is concerned, because the more contact I have with them, the more I might find out that they're doing something that they're not supposed to be, and then that's a liability issue for me and for the fraternity. I eat 4 meals a week with them. Once a month, I go to their chapter meeting. Once a month, I go to their prudential meeting, which is like the chapter leadership meeting. I think it's every week or every couple weeks, I have a walkthrough of the house with the house manager. And then bi-weekly, I have a one-on-one FaceTime with my boss, and sometimes the house manager's on there. I'm also supposed to like kind of do something with the cleaning crew. I'm not totally sure on that. I got to manage them. But other than those things, other than just like saying hey to the guys out in the hallway, there's very much supposed to be like a separation between us. And then you said, did you ever get harassed by cops or security for sleeping in your vehicle? Yeah, well, kind of. There was this one cop, or well, he wasn't even a cop, he was a security guard, who would not leave me alone at this one Planet Fitness parking lot. Like, I was going to Planet Fitness because, like, I went, that's where I have a gym membership. I wasn't sleeping. It wasn't even, like, a time to sleep. I was just in this parking lot. And he bothered me twice. The first time, he asked me if I was sleeping. I was like, no, dude, you see I'm awake. Like, I'm sitting in the front seat. I'm just, like, on my phone. And then he's like, oh, okay, well, you can stay here. And I'm like, okay. Weird. And then, like, a month later, he comes up to me again in the same parking lot. And he's like, now, I remember. I told you that you sit here. I was like, no, you very specifically told me I could sit here. And he's like, oh, well, I was just being nice. I was like, well, you're not being nice now. I'm like, what is the problem? Like, and I don't know. It seemed to be only me. And then I talked to Planet Fitness about it, and they're like, well, they told me that the cop, like, the vehicle wasn't even the security vehicle, because they said the security vehicle had some kind of, like, insignia on it. So I don't even know if this guy was actually a cop, but it seemed to be, like, me in particular that he was after. And then there was one other time, more recently, I was at OU, and there's like a farm that the university owns, but it's on campus, and campus has like really specific parking things. So like after 5 p.m. and on weekends, you don't have to have a parking permit to park in the parking areas for certain parking lots, and this is one of them. So it's posted there saying parking enforcement starts at like 7 a.m. Monday. Well, I was there, maybe it was a Sunday night, I don't know, but I had my alarm set to be gone by 7. And at like 4 in the morning, one of the campus police pulled like right up to my car. Like, my car is like here. He pulled like right up here, and he had his brights and like all the front lights like on me. And I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was the only car there. Like, I mean, I'm there when I'm supposed to be there. You don't need a permit during that time. But that's all he did. He shined the light in like that, and then he left. So they didn't do anything to me, but I was just like, why are you being an asshole? Like, I'm just trying to sleep. Like I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was there, parked, when you're allowed to be parked there. So those were the times. I mean, I tried to sleep places I was allowed to, and generally when you do that, because to be there, people leave you alone. So, but I know there's a lot of people on. I've still got 23 on. I think right now there's only one person asking questions, so I think I'm gonna kind of cut it short here. We've been on 171 minutes, so a while. Oh, hey. Oh, thank you. Yeah, well-behaved wallet, thank you. I'm actually about to end the stream. I'm glad you could get here, but I finally got my hair cut. So, thanks to my mom for that, because she gave me $20, and I would not have been able to pay for that haircut without that. So, it might get a little shaggy. I'm gonna have to find a place here in Indiana to get it cut. But I'm gonna go back to my haircut dude in Columbus over winter break, have him once. It won't get as long as it was again, and I'll try to keep it up. All right, well, we've been on here over 2 hours, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it off. But I do have 2 videos that all I have to do is edit them. I'm gonna go up this month. There's a 3rd video, the final update to that I'm gonna try to film soon-ish and get that up. They might all 3 go up the same day. And then I still owe you guys my student loan annual update and my 6-month update for the financial goals. So those are still on the horizon, but there should be some videos this month now that I have a little extra time and also the facilities to just sit and work on stuff. So that should be really soon. Yeah. So if you guys have any other questions or anything, I do read all the comments, so feel free to comment if you're watching this on the replay. And otherwise, those videos will be up, and then we'll do another of these at the end of August.